say I don't get it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's a difficult thing. And maybe it's kind of cowardice on my part too, because it's when the material gets judged, and obviously you'd rather not have it go through that phase.
You can imagine how good the notes are.
But can I tell you one quick thing about his acting class? We were just talking about this last night.
No.
Oh.
No.
So, Jeffrey invited me to the acting class. Can I tell this story? And I said, Jeffrey, I don't have a speech or anything. He said, don't worry about it. You don't have to worry about it. We'll just make this very comfortable and very natural for you. And I think I did park in a parking lot, started working out something to say, prepare for some questions. And I said, but you're not gonna put me on the spot or anything. No. So this is what he did. He walked out with a plastic chair. Put it down. Mitch Hurwitz. Absolutely true story.
Here's the real, and this is why he and I have been friends for so long. He prepared for that as much as he prepares for anything. I heard, because I'm very friendly with his wife, he would go on to Starbucks about an hour before to make his notes. He talked for almost 2 hours on his feet, and they're 30 years old. My kids went to school. No, they loved him, and he talked what they say on my side of the street. He talked endless, the truth, and he's great. Let's sing Kumbaya.
All right, we got another question right here.
Hi, John Jackal, National Post. My question is, can you confirm or can you not confirm that there is going to be next season, and/or is there officially a movie?
Well, first of all, I've had no time to prepare for this answer. So, as he was saying. We have nothing else right now. Here's what we have. We have the whole story. I mean, we really, worked out. The whole thing evolved because we wanted to do a movie, and we had too much information for the movie. Suddenly, because time had elapsed, what became interesting was where these characters had been, as opposed to just continuing the story. And so to focus on where each character had been, which I think would be fun for the audience to see, what's Joe up to? You'd have to give him 3-4 minutes in the movie. You're halfway through the movie before you've gotten through all the characters. So what kind of emerged was this idea of an anthology series where and it's evolved since then, but the original idea was we would just do George Sr.'s episode, we just do Michael's episode, we just do Joe's episode. And all of this was to be sort of act one of this bigger story that we have in a lot of detail, actually, as you pointed out, for the movie. What we don't have is a movie deal. Know anybody? No, I'm confident that we will succeed at that. It's not our property, but 20th Century Fox owns it, and they've been amazing. They've let us bring it back, which is outside their normal business model. These companies exist to make 100 episodes of something, not to make 10 episodes, or in our case, 14. So
It's their ball.
Yeah.
They own the football and they own the field. And we're just players on it. And the truth is also, is I know that there's been people have been asking this question a lot since there were comments made in the last few years and stuff. But we do have these 14 episodes that are about to air. People are already mad that we don't have the other. Nobody's even seen these. But let's just enjoy this for now.
But the other part of the question is, yes, we very much want to do it, and I have to do my due diligence, right? It's not. I really don't mean to be passing the buck and saying, well, they're not paying for a movie. I mean, I just got to go through those steps. I've got to pitch it to them. They're probably going to need to see a script first, which is not how we've done it in television, right? In television, you just do a pilot, and then you got a series, and you're doing it every week. So this is probably going to have to go through some sort of approval process.
But in fairness, there is a bigger story there. We were talking about this earlier, that these current 14 episodes are just another step in the telling of the story of these characters and these people's lives. And there is a bigger story out there that does exist, truthfully.
Yes, I think when you get to the end of these episodes, maybe in the middle, you'll realize, oh, there's more of a story here that's being set up.
I just wanted to hope. I do tell you that the fans who come up to one in an airport, and I mean old and young, assume that this is the precursor to a movie, and the precursor, they seem to think that it's the series, movie series. I'm not kidding, that's what they think that there is. So I think the good people at 20th would be, if they're in touch with their family, they will have missed an opportunity if they don't. And it's right here.
But
I don't want to share this one.
I want to really make it clear that they've been very, very generous. So we're not complaining that they haven't done anything yet. We have to bring them that.
I want to be the most vocal about how supportive they are. What a great job they do in News Corp in general.
I think about amazing
Do they? I don't even care about that. I think that they're all just good people.
We have a question back here.
Hi, this is Josh Jackson from Pace Magazine, and I feel like we've been covering the story of is there going to be a series, for years now. What made this the right time to do it? And were you throughout that time kind of keeping up with the characters and where they might be in your mind? And were they growing, older through the years and figuring out what was going on?
No, you're not holding. No, I don't know what I want to say. I always felt kind of conflicted about, amazing support that you guys were asking about it and interested about it, and I always felt like, God, I don't mean to be being coy here. We just, I always felt like it was a little too soon to dive into the movie. The movie, we knew the limitations of. We knew that there would be a certain budget for the movie. It's not a property that we control. So there were certain things that just weren't quite up to me to make the movie. And so every time it became this self-fulfilling thing, which was great, but it also, the story became, well, once again, there's talk of a movie. And if it were up to me, I would have just waited until we had a movie deal and then announced it. By the time we were, I don't quite know how to say it was time to do this again, but it just seemed finally, maybe just in my personal life, that I had a moment between jobs and there was an opportunity to write the movie. And what the other part of it, beyond just having too much story, was feeling like, well, people have waited so long. Can we give them something more? And that was my first meeting with Ron Howard when we restarted it. I said, is there any way we can do, a movie into a series, like you were saying, and back into a movie? And he said, boy, I don't know, film departments and TV departments don't really work together. And then I said, well, what are you up to now? He said, I'm doing this Dark Tower thing. It's a movie, and then it's a TV show, and then it's a movie. And so coincidentally, Netflix came along and it expressed interest in somehow doing some kind of reunion. So it just kind of seemed possible. But even having said that, it still wasn't possible. That was probably February of 2011. And I was saying, let's make this announcement at the May upfronts. When everybody's making their announcements for TV shows. And it was really, I finally got into offices with a couple of writers January 1st of 2012. And even then, we didn't really start on the clock because they said, well, we don't have the actor deals yet. And, well, why don't you make the actor deals? Well, because we don't know that we don't know they're all going to be available. And it was a complicated thing to get moving. Not because anybody wasn't motivated, but just because there were, everybody's got their own lives.
There were so many moving parts on every level of this thing, from the creative to the business side, to the schedule, to all of it. It was a very complex thing, and it's a testimony, a real testament of it to Mitch, obviously once again kind of driving this thing that it came together at all.
Well,
it was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy, but we all kind of decided, these two guys in particular, and Jason too, were always just saying, like, just do it, and it'll come. And I kind of feel that way about the movie, not to be flip about it, because obviously a lot of people have to put up a lot of money and things like that, but I feel like we're probably going to have to get it going before the deal is official somehow, and just like, there's a reason this kind of thing doesn't happen more often. Shows don't kind of reunite, just because television doesn't work that way. There's no profit model, and people go out to do it.
But what's exciting is, there's nothing like a fan in the world, and we have great fans. And that really helped us, and we have great critical fans. And also, Ted from Netflix is a fan. And his whole, there's nothing like that enthusiasm that buoys us. And that's what's great about this project, is that we've come out, I'm very glad we've come out this way in terms of the technology, because our fans, young and old, really appreciate that we're coming to them in a personal way, which I think is very arresting development. So that's very interesting about the timing of this. And I mean, the world is changing. I mean, I just did a pilot for Onion on Amazon. The world has changed, and thank God for it. So there's nothing like a fan, and Ken is great.
Well, and I would say the fact that people can watch this now on a Samsung phone. You know, this technology really didn't exist when we were making the show. No, I know it sounds a little bit, but I didn't want to say any other kind of phone. But the fact that they can watch it on a phone, right, is all new. Like, those people were not counted in our ratings, and they weren't valued, I should say, more than not counted. So it really does. What has changed is that we can have this communication with fans now, in a way, and we don't have to get 20 million people to watch it. We need to get the people who want to watch it, and we need to satisfy them. So it's a different.
When the show was on the air originally, it really was at the time when technology was going, when the people who were our core demographic were not watching television in the traditional way. Certainly they weren't watching, they were making an appointment to watch television at all, if they even had a TV. These were, our demo was young people who were in college, or like Mitch said, who were unaccounted for in that way. And now they can watch the show however they want. And we sort of married that with the creatively by releasing all these episodes at the same time that are telling this bigger story, that's part of the story, the way that you watch it. It's really like, it's a perfect sort of marriage in that sense.
You know, even the fact that I was always surprised we didn't have corporate sponsors in a way, that people didn't want to use what we experienced anecdotally as a really vibrant, intelligent fan base that is tech savvy. And, you know, I mean, like, I would notice that when I go into tech stores or Best Buys, I would be recognized in a Best Buy. You know, it just, and I'm behind the scenes, you know, so it's very gratifying that Samsung is doing this. I think it's a good statement of, like, okay, there are people that, you know, that will make this profit model work. People can make special things.
We're going to just take one quick question, and then we're going to see something very special.
Hi, Edward Stockwell, University of Texas. So just really quick question. We're seeing a lot of returning characters in this season. What about some like the really lesser known ones, such as Dead Doves and like Saddam Hussein?
You know, you're right. I mean, I don't think enough people know about Saddam Hussein. And he's a funny guy. And we have not, as you know, well, okay, I'm saying he just has good timing. And when they killed his double, we were really worried. They executed his double, and we thought, you know, well, we were worried because we thought, we bring Saddam back without causing an international uproar. He's a William Morris. I'm a William Morris. So hopefully, no, I was kidding. You know, we wanted to avoid doing a greatest hits. That being said, one of the hallmarks of the show is always, I mean, one of the things that's been fun about it is just sort of creating this world and going to John Beard when we go to the news. In fact, at one point, you and I talked about, we got the movie going, putting John Beard above the title. John Beard's the newscaster. He was a local newscaster for us, and he's in the show a lot. So they're definitely, you know, they're definitely going to be rewarding little things like that for fans, I think. That, yeah, hopefully. Yeah, fully. So I brought something to show, which I really haven't done. We haven't done. So, and it's a little tricky because I didn't want to, you know, I'm going to ask that you don't film it. You don't want to see me go to concert every day, right?